After playing Helldivers 2 for over 4,000 hours, these are going to be 100+ tips that will take your gameplay to the next level. And these tips and tricks will turn you from a beginner player to an advanced player really fast. I'm going to break down enemy weak spots. I'm also going to showcase some very important settings, some of the best stratagems, best grenades, armor, essentially everything you need to know is going to be in this one video. Let's get right into it. First, let's start off with some quick settings for the console that are very, very important. These are my visual settings. Camera shake is off. My vertical field of view is always maxed out, and motion blur needs to be turned off. This game already has a lot of fog and whatnot. Bloom is obviously off, and quality profile, I always have it on performance unless I'm trying to take some screenshots in game. Next up, you're gonna move into controller. You're gonna go into change bindings, and then you're gonna go to combat. Once you're in combat, you're gonna go all the way down to quick throwable, and you're going to assign a button to this so that you can throw your grenade without having the need to press one of the arrow buttons first to switch to it. This is an absolute game changer and honestly will make the combat flow much better. Now, for the PC, one of the most important things is you have to go to mouse and keyboard. After you go here, you got to go to change bindings, go to general, and once you scroll down a little bit, you will see your stratagem. And here you have to change the WSAD keys to anything that you want. And what this will do is you'll be able to call in stratagems while you're moving. Guys, this is very important. If not, you're going to have to stay stationary every time you call in a stratagem and you're going to get cooked, okay? Then under audio, you're going to find the hood and you're going to go to reticle visibility and you're going to set this to visible, okay? This will also make a big difference. As you get into the game, go to ship management, and one of the first items, or should I say first stratagems that you should chase, and thankfully this is unlocked right away, is the supply pack. This item is absolutely S tier from level 1 all the way to max level, and even at end game is one of the best items in the game easily. So pick this up right away. If you hold down the reload button on any weapon, you're gonna see its RPM. You can switch between the modes, turn on the flashlight on and off. This specific weapon doesn't have a flashlight, but you guys get the point. Stims are very strong in Helldivers 2. Not only do they help you to fully recover your stamina really fast, but they can help you tank tons of damage. We got like tons of enemies here, so I'm just gonna run in. I'm just gonna stim up. And as you guys can see, I'm just standing here and getting hit and surviving all of this. Without the stims, I'd be gone long time ago. On top of that, diving is a very important mechanic. If you get caught on fire, it will counter the fire with a single dive. And you can stim while diving as well. This is a new addition to the game, and it helps your survivability by a ton. If you're getting chased, you can dive and stim while you're diving. Diving and proning also helps you survive some crazy explosions and take less damage and just stay more safe. For example, we got a 500 kg coming in. If I dive and stay on the ground, you will see that I don't take damage here and almost all of the enemies are dead. Hell bombs can be found all around the map. These are great tools to use to destroy enemies that are pushing you. Just take a shot and move away as fast as you can, and then the explosion takes place. This easily kills some of the biggest targets in the game. You can get a stratagem ready, then dive and throw at the same time to throw it at a longer distance. This is something that takes time to get used to, but once you do, it's actually pretty helpful. Now, another very cool tip is if you and your team are divided on the map. Now, you can see where I am on the mini map. Let's say some of the other teammates, 2 of them are like around this area right here. If one of the teammates goes down, do not res that teammate around your area right away. Give the other teammate a few seconds to get him in close to his own gear. This way he doesn't have to run hundreds of meters. If you are calling in a resupply, try to drop it in a place where other teammates will use it as well. If you're far away from them, don't just call it in for yourself all the time. In some situations, you might have to be forced to do it, but in most situations, take into account. And once you are picking these up, always try to leave 1 or 2 for teammates so they can benefit from it as well. Another tip for the resupply is drop it down every time it is off cooldown. Even though you might not need it at that moment, just making sure that there's a lot of them around the map will help you long term as you're going through the missions. Running away from enemies and shooting at the same time is something that you can do in Helldivers 2, but the weapon has to be one-handed. In that case, it's very, very comfortable. You could do it with your primaries, but it will stop, so it's not really as good. A very cool stratagem you can pair with any one-handed weapon is going to be the ballistic shield. That gives you a little bit more survivability. It's pretty decent against the bots, and it's fun to use against the bugs as well. The ballistic shield can also block some damage that is gonna hit your helldiver while running away. In order to do this though, it has to be on your back. Now, there are some things that you can do with your teammates, or should I say help your teammates with. So, for example, if they have a recoilless rifle, you can help them reload the gun, which increases the damage output tremendously. Essentially, if they're taking a shot and you have the backpack of the said recoilless rifle, they just can keep shooting as you're reloading it on the go. Once again, this makes your DPS 10 times better. You can also refill your teammates, like let's say grenades or stims or whatever it is, as long as you have the supply backpack. So right here, you will see that it says give refill. You press that button. You will see that one of the blocks disappears on your back, which means that you gave a bunch of stuff to your teammate. On top of that, you can stim your teammates just to heal them up in case they're out of stims completely. Just run up to him and heal them up. Now, from time to time on the map, you're going to find these bunkers. And in order to open them, you're going to need 2 players to interact at the same time. Inside, you can find ammo and a lot of cool stuff, like, for example, grenades, support weapons, and sometimes even super credits. And we actually got super credits this time, and you can also find medals. If you do go down, you can use your pod that you're flying in with to deal massive damage to some of the biggest enemies in the game, right? Just aim for the enemies and land on them. Right now, we don't have any big enemies around, but you can absolutely one-shot chargers and deal massive damage to targets like Bile Titans. You can also one-shot Hulks and harvesters on the other enemy factions. Now, another cool thing is you can use your blue stratagem call-ins to close down the bug holes as well. Now, you're probably not gonna need this all the time, but there is some situations where you're running out of your grenades or whatever to close down the bug holes, and you can use this strategy to make that happen. On top of that, you can use these stratagems to deal damage to big targets as well, such as, for example, the chargers that we mentioned, the Hulks and the Bile Titans. The minimap can be your friend. Always try to look around for missions, and on the minimap, you can always zoom in to pinpoint the location of your gear that you lost. So, for example, right here, I'm trying to get back my supply pack, and sometimes in the midst of chaos, it's pretty confusing to find it, and in that case, you're just gonna have to zoom in a little bit and find your gear much easier. You can also use this to pinpoint, for example, your resupplies if you don't remember where you dropped it. And on top of that, it will help you to find some of the side missions on the map. So make sure to use the map most of the time. If you find a radar sign on the map, make sure to complete that mission. That is a radar mission, and that will make all the other things on the map visible right away after completion. After completing the main mission, extraction is not mandatory if you're only looking for requisitions and XP. It is only needed if you're trying to extract samples. So that is something to keep in mind. If you do pick up some samples on the way, and let's say you go down and you lose these samples, one cool thing is that your teammates can pick it up. Right here, you will see that they are on the ground. Your teammates can pick it up and extract with it, and it will still count for the whole team. Even though there's a lot of very cool ship modules in the game, one of the most important ones is going to be the expanded weapons bay. All of the eagles that you see on the right side will get an extra call-in, including the 500 kg. And having the ability to call in 2 500 kgs is absolutely insane. Boosters are a very important part of Helldivers too. Let me quickly show you guys some of the best ones. Vitality enhancement is great. Stamina enhancement is incredible if you want to be sprinting for longer periods. Then you also have Hellpod space optimization, which makes your overall ammo economy and stim economy much better. And finally, experimental infusion. Jump pack is one of the more fun items in the game. You can literally cover a lot of distance, and it has a pretty decent cooldown on it, so you're not gonna have to wait long. But there's a few things you need to know with the jump pack that will make your gameplay more fun. You can get your stratagems ready, and you can throw it while you're in the air. You just look wherever you want, and chug the stratagem. It's actually really fun. Keep in mind, you can also throw grenades, stim, and you can even reload while you are in the air. However, the best thing about the jump pack is that you can even reload the weapons that have stationary reload in the air, which is pretty cool. For example, the heavy machine gun, you become stationary right away as you start the reload. However, if you use the jump pack and reload in the air, yeah, you can just do that animation while you're flying, and that wins you a lot of time and keeps you safe. So we have two weapons in the game that will eliminate you if you overcharge it. That's going to be the railgun and the plasma epoch. So essentially, if you overcharge, you will simply explode. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Now, in order to avoid that, you just need to pay attention and let go of the trigger right before it overcharges. I do advise mastering the railgun in unsafe mode, which means that you can go all the way almost to the very end and let it go. And this way you will be dealing tons of more damage, and it's tons of fun too. Like once you get it down, trust me, it's worth it. Then we also have the arc thrower. The arc thrower is very good for stunning enemies and for clearing big hordes of enemies as well. It's a very powerful tool in general and is very fun to use. The next one on the list is going to be the recoilless rifle. If you enjoy anti-tank weapons, just blasting enemies with very powerful rockets and taking most of the targets down in one hit, even some of the most powerful targets in the game, yes, the recoilless is going to be for you. Fire is absolutely cracked in Helldivers 2. Here's a quick tip. It can destroy some of the most powerful enemies in the game, including Bile Titans and Factory Striders, Hulks, Chargers, pretty much anything. Here's a quick tip on how to use this weapon when it comes to crowd control. Every time you're moving backwards, just spray the ground. This is what you're going to be doing a lot. This will create huge areas of fire and give you the ability to keep the enemies away from you and deal tons of damage. If you are getting pushed by shriekers, for example, and you don't know what to do and you have fire weapons and only fire weapons, what you want to do is dive to the ground, look up, and start spinning. This way, all of those shriekers will be running into the circle of fire and they're just gonna burn out pretty quickly. I use this technique a lot on my solo runs. And by the way, I stream both on YouTube and on Twitch, so make sure to drop a like if you do enjoy the video, and only if you do, and hop into those streams as well. We always have a fun time. If you are using pump shotguns like the one that I'm using now, while you can use them in normal shooting mode as you see me using it right now, you can also shoot and reload after every shot. This helps you to keep the ammo economy a little bit more healthy, and you're not going to have to full reload it all the time. Weapon customization is something that you should never forget. Remember that a lot of weapons really do benefit from it, and in order to get experience for your weapons that you're trying to customize, you're going to have to finish missions. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to extract 100% of the time. As long as you complete the main mission or side missions, and even better, if you complete all of them, you're going to get more XP. Now, let me quickly show you guys a few support weapons for the bugs that will never let you down. Stalwart is going to be a great pick against the bugs. The flamethrower is absolutely S tier against the bugs. And finally, Quasar Cannon and the Arc Thrower, both of these are very high level. Now let's talk about the bots, because you're going to be going for the railgun, for the laser cannon. I'm not going to lie, the heavy machine gun is also kind of a great pick against the bots. And finally, you can never go wrong with the recoilless rifle, because as I said, it literally one-shots 90% of the enemies in the game. Now for the Illuminates, it's a little bit more easier. You can use any of the machine guns. They're actually very, very powerful against them. You can go for the laser cannon, for the flamethrower as well. Green and red stratagems that will not let you down. For the bugs, you're gonna be going for the gas mines. This thing is an absolute monster against them and has a very low cooldown. When it comes to the red stratagems, orbital napalm barrage, 500 kg, and the one and only orbital gas strike. Yeah, this combo right here, guys, any of these against the bugs, easy clears. If you're fighting against the bots, the orbital laser is very, very strong. The 380 does a great job as well. One of the best ones is going to be the Eagle strafing run. And finally, never forget about the one and only rocket sentry against the bots. Now for the Illuminates, you can use the orbital laser, the 500 kg, strafing, 380. Honestly, they're the easiest faction in my opinion, so a lot of these can work without any issues. Another quick tip is that the orbital rail cannon strike one-shots some of the biggest targets in the game, such as the Bile Titan, for example. Boom, one shot, deleted. If you are calling down any of the sentries, please remember, so as they're moving around and shooting enemies, as long as you're prone, you should be absolutely fine. Another thing to keep in mind is that you can stand on top of these. Now, you don't want to always do this, but with some sentries, this does work, as you guys can see right here. Same goes for the Tesla towers. If you do drop this down, make sure to be prone. There are some armors in the game, like arc armors, that can essentially completely counter it, and you're not going to take any damage, but definitely want to be prone to around these beauties as well. And this is why. Another thing that I want to mention is that in the current meta, the laser cannon is actually very effective against all three factions. So if you're early game and thinking what stratagem to unlock, laser cannon is a very strong pick actually, no matter which faction you're going to be going against. Okay, now let's talk about fire and gas, because this combo is absolutely insane in this game. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So what you need to know is that first of all, gas confuses enemies and it also deals damage over time. So what you can do is combine the two damage over times, right? So you're going to throw a gas grenade, for example, and as they're getting confused after that, you can start spraying the enemies and the ground as well. Everything that gets through that is now confused and taking double tick damage. This is one of the most powerful tools against the bugs. Gas grenades are actually perfect to counter bug breaches. So you can always throw it on the bug breaches right away, and it makes dealing with the bug breaches much easier, guys. This is exceptionally strong on higher difficulties on the game. Quick tech on how to use the grenade against the bugs right here. And this can be used on any difficulty, especially on endgame. This is very useful. As they're chasing you, you don't even have to look at them. Just keep running, throw down the grenade, keep moving. And then as you see it proc, you're going to turn around and start spraying the ground or the enemy directly. However, always keep moving backwards once you're doing this. I'm going to quickly guide you guys through the grenades so you know which one is effective against different factions. Thermites is easily the best pick against the automatons. So if you're fighting against the bots, make sure to always have the thermites with you. It's either this or the pyrotech grenades. However, I personally do think that the thermites are just easier to use and overall are much more effective. When it comes to the bugs, you can pick up the gas grenades. And honestly, this is the only grenade I personally use when I'm playing against the bugs. You can use the stun grenade, but when it comes to crowd control, gas is just going to be better. Now, when it comes to the Illuminates, because they are a much easier faction to fight against, the slot is kind of more open. Gas grenades do work. You can also use this incendiary impact or the normal impact grenades. The full-on incendiary grenade is also very effective against them. So yeah, just go ahead and try all of these out against them. Let me show you how to avoid the charges from the chargers. So a charger is rushing you. All you got to do is let them get close and then take a quick turn, and they will just avoid you just like that. Obviously, it's going to take some time to get used to, right, guys? But it's pretty simple once you get it down. So for the charger, there's quite a few ways you can kill them. One of the best ways is if you have heavy pen weapons, you can keep shooting the leg, and you will see that the armor will break. Once the armor is broken, guys, after that, you can use any weapon you want, including light pen, medium pen, to kill the charger. Obviously, with heavy pen weapons, you can go for the head as well and just kill them straight up. Now, the weakest spot on the charger, however, is always going to be the tail. The tail does take extra damage from weapons with explosive shots and plasma shots. And if you're running a weapon like, for example, the Eruptor, the crossbow, or once again, anything that has explosive or plasma damage, you will be killing chargers extremely fast. Weapons like the Eruptor, the crossbow, and grenade pistol can close down bug holes. Not all primary weapons can do this, and this puts these weapons in a league of its own. So when it comes to the Bile Titans, you can bait their spew pretty easily. All you got to do is kind of get close to them and move away. They're going to start spewing. Keep in mind that if they somehow spew into a wall that is close to them, they will deal self-damage. Now, if you do want to take away his ability to spew, you're going to have to shoot his stomach area right over there. That's, if you destroy that area, he's not going to be able to spew. So let's do that actually. Pretty sure it's already destroyed. So you will see that he's not going to be spewing anymore. Now, in general, his stomach area, so all of this that you see right here, and the tail area as well, this is a weak spot. So you can damage this area with any kind of weapon. Light pen, medium pen, whatever it is, it's gonna go through. You can completely kill him, by the way, as long as you keep dealing damage to this area right here. You can just destroy his tail. The tail will literally fall off and the Bile Titan will die. If you are using anti-tank weapons, rockets in general, go for the head directly, and as long as you're landing your shots, you're gonna kill him pretty quickly. And guys, don't shoot the legs, okay? That's literally not gonna do anything. Once the spew is gone, you can bait a lot of his melee attacks pretty easily. All you gotta do is run up to him and then just kind of move away, and he will start like doing the attacks, right? This also makes it much easier to land any of the eagles. You can literally run under him, drop the eagle, and then move away. This will guarantee the hit, as it's gonna land closer to the Bile Titan. So for the Hulks, this red eye is the weak spot, and you can deal damage to it pretty easily with any heavy pen weapon and take him out essentially very, very quickly. On the back, however, he has a big weak spot, and this can be damaged with any weapon in the game. When it comes to the factory striders, the first thing you need to know, when you see him, always try to attack the front machine guns right here. These things are extremely deadly, and you want to destroy them as soon as possible. Now, when it comes to their actual weak spots, this eye right here is a weak spot. So if you have, for example, the recoilless rifle or any kind of anti-tank, shoot this thing right away. You are going to be destroying factory striders pretty easily. Another weak spot that you need to know about is right over here. So if you meet this guy for the first time, this will open up from time to time and it will drop more enemies. However, you can shoot this door even when it's closed, and you can also stick it with like thermite grenades, for example. You only need like 2 of them, and you're gonna cook these guys very quickly. Let's talk about the harvester. Back in the day, the eye was not a weak spot, so essentially you were trying to avoid it, and you could go for the joints instead, like exactly this area, right? But now that has changed. The eye is an actual AP2 weak spot. So for example, even if you're running the one and only eruptor, you can directly go for the eye. You are going to be killing them pretty easily. That said, do not use your red stratagems before you take out the shield. You can even use your primary weapons to delete the shield really quick and then go for either the eye, or you can still go for the joint as well. Now, rotation is everything in Helldivers 2, right? And you need to get used to it. So I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite stratagems in the game, which is the gas mines and how to use it. As you drop it down, right, you're gonna wait for this to fly down. As soon as it does, guys, what you want to learn here is that you want to start rotating around it. You see all the mines going out, and now instead of like running into it, you're gonna start circling around it and baiting the enemies into it. And if you're running around the bug maps and suddenly the visibility is like this, it's probably because of the mushrooms or the spores. And what you can do is just literally just take them out instantly, and then the visibility becomes normal. You can use the environment to stun lock your enemies, as you see right here, which is pretty cool actually. And honestly, it will save your life a lot of the times, especially if you're out of grenades. Speaking of environment, bushes and everything similar to this essentially will slow you down a lot, so try to avoid them at all costs. If you are struggling with survivability on any difficulty, the medical armor is going to be one of your best picks. This gives you 2 extra stims and increases the stim effect duration by 2 seconds. You can find one of these on the free war bond on page 4. If you really want to take your survivability to the next level, for example, against the bugs, what you want to do is pick up the medical armor and then combine it with a stratagem such as the one and only gas rover. Not only will this increase your survivability against the bugs, but it will make the clearing of the bugs much easier. If you're struggling with survivability against the bots, the heavy armor that provides 50% resistance of explosive damage will help you a lot. Same goes for the heavy medical armor. These are 2 of my favorite ones to use against the bots. Here's a quick fun tip when you're going to be playing against the Illuminates. The triple laser build actually slaps them around. So you're going to pick up the scythe, and then for the stratagems, the ones that you're going to need is going to be the laser cannon, and finally the laser Garda Grover. With these 3 together, you're going to be melting through them without any issues. As somebody that plays this game solo a lot, I'm going to give you guys a few tips. As soon as you fly in, drop the resupply on the point. Trust me, when you rotate around the map and get back to extraction point, yeah, those supplies are going to come in handy big time. And remember, you don't always have to go for full clears as a solo player. It really just gives you a little bit more XP. So as long as you complete some of the side missions and the main mission, go for extraction. You don't always have to get into fights, guys. Not every fight is worth taking. If you're doing the run solo, backpacks are your friend. For example, the gas rover, the supply backpack, are S tier when it comes to solo play, and warp pack is on a completely different level. Okay, now let's talk about some in-depth tips for the warp pack. First, let's go over some really basic stuff that you need to know, right? Obviously, you can go in any direction you want with the warp pack. To the sides, if you want to teleport backwards or forward, it doesn't matter. Like, essentially, you can do anything, and that makes it very versatile in situations where you're about to get charged by a charger or hit by a Hulk and all that kind of stuff, including Bile Titan spew and whatnot. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind that yes, you can go back to back, but it always comes with something or some kind of damage that you take. In this case, we broke a limb. Now, what you don't want to do is go 3 times in a row, because if you do, you're gonna die. So keep that in mind. You don't want to do that. So what I would advise is teleport once, wait for the color to change again, and then you teleport again, and that is very safe. You're going to be covering a lot of distance anyway, and that way you don't break any limbs, and you're not going to have to spend any extra stims. Now, if there is a crazy situation and you need to double teleport, do that. Okay, now let's talk about some awesome things that you can do when it comes to movement. This is actually so much fun. So right here, you see that the character has a tough time moving up, right? However, if you're pressing your analog in the same direction, it will teleport you up. Now, keep in mind, this is not very consistent, so you might have to try a few times. Not only that, but you can cover some crazy distances with this, with a double teleport. So for example, if you want to go over to the other side, you can double teleport and you're on the other side, which is really insane. And this is going to be so much fun to utilize in combat as well. Now, if you want to extend that jump a little bit, you're going to start with a dive. And that will help you to cover a little bit more range, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, there is also a way to counter some really bad animations when you're dropping off a little bit of a high grounds, or even when you dive. So what I mean is, for example, from here, if I just jump off, right? It does this animation that keeps you kind of like slowed or stunned or whatever you want to call it. And it can be really annoying, actually. And it can get you killed a lot of the times. And even if you dive from here, right? It's gonna ragdoll you as well. However, with the warp pack, you can cancel that out, and it's actually really fun too. You got to time it correctly. So as you dive, you warp, and it stops you from either going into one animation or the other. Another very cool thing about the teleporter is how it affects water. So you know how you can't like dive or whatever, but with the teleporter, you can just move through water much faster. So that is very cool, especially if you're getting hit from afar or whatever it is, and you're trying to cover the distance in water. That makes a huge difference, and it speeds everything up. Another very cool quality of life, you can go through walls. Remember that as well. So for example, once again, if you want to get through here, you just warp through it. That is something that you need to keep in mind. So you can't really get stuck with this item. That is also huge, and something that is a game changer, especially if you're fighting against the bots, and if you find yourself in these crazy bases and you're kind of stuck, you can just teleport through walls. By the way, if you're about to take damage, your car is gonna explode or whatever's gonna happen, guess what? Boom, you're out of there. You do not care. Easy peasy all day long. Can we get in the bunkers? Check out. The answer is absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Get in, get out. Chat, do you want me to teleport in here? I mean, this is... I mean, it destroys it. This works too. Now I'm going to show you the advanced tech, which is going to be a little bit... It's going to take some time to get used to, but this will save your life a lot, and it's actually very strong. So you're going to dive, stim, and warp through as you're diving, right? Boom, just like that. It's not easy at first, but once you understand it, especially on controller, you're going to be doing it consistently, and it is absolutely cracked. It's very strong, and it's very fun. Boom, just like that. Just like that, guys. Huge dub when it comes to movement. Obviously, you can do that backwards as well. Doesn't really matter when it comes to direction, but once again, it's going to take some time. Okay, now another very cool synergy is with the Quasar Cannon as well. So if you're fighting a target, You're charging up your shot. You're about to get hit. You can teleport out of the way, and it keeps the charge up, which is really nice if you're fighting, let's say, Bile Titans or even Chargers and you're about to get hit. Whatever it is, it keeps you alive, right? It's very, very strong. So once again, you're charging up, you teleport out of the way, boom, just like that. It keeps the charge. Now, I'm also going to show you a very cool combo with double-edged sickle. Now, keep in mind, I'm not using fire armor. I am going to be uploading a very, very powerful build for this combo very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. But right now, what you need to know is that when you're shooting the double-edged sickle, obviously it gets overheated, right? Which also means that it's going to be dealing more damage. It's going to go all the way to heavy pen and so on. But the cool thing is, as you're shooting, and if you teleport, it keeps the shots and keeps the overheat as well. So if you build around this correctly, this can be absolutely ridiculous. And once again, I got some really, really fun and powerful builds on the way. The biggest problem always with the Torture was like creating distance and understanding how to stay away from your enemies, right? And now with the war pack, that's not an issue, dude. Like, that's not an issue at all. You can start burning the ground very, very easily now, right? And then you can just teleport backwards, create more range, and just do it again. This creates, and hopefully not burn your teammates like I did. My apologies, Lightning. I'm sorry. We're gonna do this. Teleport back. We're gonna do this again. Oh, he almost jumped into it. But you guys can see how easy it is to clear hordes of enemies with this combination, bro. It is literally one of the most fun times you're gonna have in this game as you master this combo. Once again, we're gonna melt them down. They're getting close. Boom, out of there. Hands down, the best backpack in the game, bro. Like, it's so cool that they've added this. So we already discussed the Torture as well, and the playstyle the war pack provides with the Torture. That said, the flamethrower is the similar one, but better if you want to use a support weapon, right? And that happens because the flamethrower has more range. So what you got to do is essentially the same thing. You're going to spray the ground as much as you can. As soon as you get pushed, you're going to teleport back, and you're going to continue doing the same. And within a few seconds, you will see that you have insane amounts of fire everywhere. This is also very strong, and especially against the bugs is tons of fun. It also works really well with the laser, and the reason I say that is it's just really cool, right? Like, so for example, if you're shooting the laser, you can teleport forward. It just keeps shooting. Then to the side, it will keep shooting. Of course, you don't want to do it that fast because you will break a limb, as you guys see right here. But overall, man, it's just so much fun to use. When it comes to grenades, what you need to know is if you press the grenade throw and immediately start to teleport, it's going to throw the grenade after you teleport. So, for example, boom, you see it threw it from this place right here. Now I'm going to showcase how to destroy factory striders with the help of the war pack and some thermite grenades. Now, you can use some other weapons, obviously, if you want to, but thermites are the fastest. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get his attention first so you guys can see that it's possible even when he's shooting at you. But in a real environment, if you have an opening to, for him to not see you, you want to push in exactly then, right? That would be the smart thing to do. Okay, we're going to go in. So I'm going to stim, teleport once, teleport twice. You can technically teleport right under him as well. Throw two of these and I can teleport out. You got to be careful. This is what I meant when I said you probably better off stimming in between, but you throw two thermites at him and he gets cooked. And these kind of things is what makes this really, really fun, bro. Like, you can make plays that you couldn't previously. You know what I mean? Spewing is not an issue anymore, right? Because you can always do this. So you can absolutely torch the tail. With one teleport that was done, by the way, boom, I'm out of there. Look how fun that is, bro. He's getting absolutely annihilated. You're not going to hit me. Not today. I'm just going to teleport out. Absolutely easy peasy kills all day long, bro. It's incredible. Orbital precision strike so much better. You can literally avoid him. Teleport right under him, which is usually the biggest problem. And then teleport out, right? Makes it so easy to land the precision strikes directly on the Bile Titan or just closer to them to do the most damage possible. So it opens up doors like these to different tools, and that's what makes this so special. And as a bonus quick tip, one secondary weapon that I really want you guys to pick up is going to be the ultimatum. This is literally as strong as some of the most powerful stratagems in the game, and it's literally going to be in your back pocket at all times as a secondary weapon. It's absolutely insane, actually. And you can find this beauty in the Servants of Freedom Warband. Okay, guys, that's all the tips I have for you for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This video took a lot of time to put together, guys. So if you did enjoy it, and only if you did, slap likes up to the channel. Make sure to hop into the streams. You guys know how it goes. Boom, boom, boom. Once again, thank you for all the love and support. As always, stay positive, stay disciplined, and I'll see you all on the next one.